one thing you did say, and I often think it's very true. Uh, it's time to ask yourself, what would you do if money was not an object? Then go do it. And it's that's a very true statement to say, but it's also a scary one for a lot of people, isn't it? Because you can pursue what's expedient for your benefit, but what means something to you.
Right. And see, the tough thing with that is oftentimes in your own head, you may think that something's important, or you may think that you love a certain thing, or whatever. But honestly, if you really took a deep dive into what you loved and what was inside of you, like, that's not it.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people have someone else's values or society's values or society's norms injected in themselves, and so they're just like blurting out, okay, church is important. Okay, well, if it isn't, then you're gonna beat yourself up for not going to church every week, or listening to or reading the Bible, or doing whatever. And it's just going to kind of put you down in this road where you're just like, man, I'm not good enough. Things aren't working out for me. I'm not this. This is what I want to be, but I'm not this, when you really don't want to be that.
Yeah, yeah. And you fall into them career paths that maybe not even for you, in a lot of ways. Like I had to come to the reality of realizing that, where you're kind of early to mid 20s, maybe you're kind of chasing the more possession of things, or the nice car, or the, whatever. And then you kind of realize then, I think that happens with kids as well, that the important thing is getting back and having an evening with your kid that day, and making sure you get back before they're in bed, and making sure the work-life thing is in check. And like, there's nothing wrong with doing a job and getting your mortgage, or being smart about things. But I do think that, if something's meaningful to you, you can pursue it. Even part time. We're lucky here in Ireland that college costs a lot less than the US. At the moment, I'm doing a strength and conditioning course part time, but I can also keep my job going, and I can also balance life, and it doesn't break the bank in that way. But it's nice that I do think that people need to assess what's calling them in certain ways, and fulfill that, because you can feel a bit empty and shallow, like you said. You're going through the motions of burning daylight almost.
Yeah, right. And that's like, that kind of leads like right into the manifestation equation.
Yeah.
And so basically, just to give like a quick rundown of what it is, it's like a balanced scientific and spiritual equation. And what I say is, it's just like the key to translating your God-given purpose into your reality. Okay, so it's like the key to manifesting your amazing life, not someone else's, but yours. And so you almost have to think of it as a chemical equation, where you start with reactants on the left side, and then you end up with products on the right. And so the terms that are on the left side, you're going to have your truth plus your brain plus your big bang, all multiplied by a factor of X. And so when you mix those together, you create the products of gratitude and self-love. So to kind of go over that again, you got your truth plus your brain plus your big bang, all multiplied by a factor of X, equals gratitude plus self-love. And so you probably notice like there's that X factor on the left side, that unknown. And so that's the most important piece of the equation, because the unknown variable in the manifestation equation is you. And so you are the one to, with the power that you can have this equation express itself at the highest levels in life. And so, like, to me, that's really exciting, because that gives you a lot of power. And this can radically change your life. And so what made me think about this, like in our conversation, was the first portion of it called your truth. Okay, and so the truth is like one of the most common questions that I get from clients is, what's my purpose? They're just wondering, like, what's my purpose? What should my purpose be? Like, how do I find my purpose? And I always have to start with this. I don't personally know your purpose. I have no idea. But what I do know is that your purpose is already inside of you, and you're living your life's purpose. And, to some people, that's good news.
Yeah.
But to others, that's not so good news, and I just tell them, I hope, hopefully this is a kick in the butt that you need to start living your own life.
Yeah.
And the best way to explain this is that, God, I use the term God, whatever term you want, has put inside of us like a special genius, a special talent, skill set, interests, values, a special purpose. And that's what I call your truth. And people always want to know, like, what is truth? And that's actually a biblical question too. Yeah. And so truth is a self-expression of God that's inside of you. And so your true purpose in life is an honest expression of that truth. And so when you're living in line with that truth and not someone else's truth, that's when you're enlightened, and the enlightened part comes out of you. And what I always tell people is, with that being said, there's an angelic part of you and there's an angelic part of me, like all of us. And an angel is a messenger of light. And so when you're using your God-given purpose, values, talent, skills, genius, whatever, you're enlightened and you've tapped into that angelic part of you, and you light up and it shines on the world. And this is where I've seen so many times where people will start to assess themselves, and they allow themselves to be themselves. And then when they are themselves, they love themselves. And that's what truth really is it's love. And it's when you have that ability to find that love inside of you, and you can share it with the world. And so when you can figure this out, like what your truth is, what you really want in life, what's important to you, that's a powerful state to be in. And then that's when you can start filling your days with, things that inspire you, and that's when your light starts to shine the brightest. And yeah. I mean, it affects so many parts of your life. Like your life will grow, your gratitude, your achievements, your self-worth, self-love, leadership, all this starts to happen. And all this is just a benefit of just finding that truth.